Welcome to Landline. This is Anna Howard and Steph Linn, broadcasting to you from a bathtub in London. You are tuned in and we are plugged in. Thanks to Julia and Alex of Residency 1111 for inviting us to do this as part of hosting Practice of Care.
Landline is a live radio show and publication. For those at home, you should be able to see a live feed of a fax machine on your screen. And as we broadcast, we welcome listeners to contribute images and text to make a collaborative publication. To submit, please send your text or images to 447873679998 via WhatsApp. One more time, that's 447873999 via WhatsApp. Then you can watch the stream to see your contribution emerge from a piece of arcane technology, which is our lovely fax machine. Shout out to Valentina for helping us figure out the tech.
Time to leave the house. Keys, phone, wallet, check. Back door's locked, sockets are off, and one final push on the fridge door to confirm it's sealed shut. I make my way to the front door. As I turn the latch, a thought tugs at me. I go back. Back door's locked, sockets are off, and one final push on the fridge door to confirm it's sealed shut. I would like to think it was the rhythm of my actions that woke the objects up, but considering how much power they wield over me, I'm not sure who was conscious first. Heading out of the door isn't an option anymore. Things feel out of control and I can't ignore the quiet, lingering disappointment coming from the house. I walk back to the kitchen and stand before the stainless steel Bosch gas hob. My finger hovers over the first dial. I pause, then I tap it to the right. Once, twice, 3 times 4. I move to the next, whilst under my breath I say, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the next, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. The last, 1, 2, 3, 4. I stop, exhale. That wasn't right. I still feel the same, and my thoughts are muddy. Today, the talisman is the gas hob. In the past, it's been a light switch, on, off, and the zip on a duffel bag, open, closed, open, closed. So I start the process again. This time my thoughts sharpen, my focus deepens, and I enter a trance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I press my fingertips against the metal, grounding myself. Now I have done it correctly. The rhythm is complete and the intention is set. I've sealed a deal with the gas hob. Things will stay as they are. I've shielded my loved ones for another day. Bertrand de la Air, taken from the record Music from Saharan WhatsApp.
You are listening to Landline with Anna Howard and Steph Linn. To send pictures or texts to the fax machine, please WhatsApp 0044 787 367 9998. The prompt is dials, switches, wires, sockets.
There's a beige box in my living room, attached to the wall. Sometimes I touch it, lift it up, see if it's something I could remove. Caked in paint, the landlord special has caressed it many times. Another rejection has come through my phone, an application kindly but firmly rejected. The bad news reached me through thin air, through radio waves or some bouncing signal. It traveled from an office computer, mass sent out to over 200 other unsuccesses. I imagine this email soaring out from that one server, bouncing to satellites, running through fiber optic cables, glancing across 5G transmitters, being absorbed by the ground and the tunnels and the soil. It arrives all across London, sending small disappointments everywhere. But this small box, magnolia iced with white. Old plastic becomes a special color once it ages. Yellow, magnolia, tan. Yolky, bready, yeasty. The kind of color that looks like you could wipe it clean with the right combination of solvents. My knitting machine is the same color, but this box was abandoned. No signals bring it to life anymore. I almost feel sorry for it. But remembering its ugliness, I'm determined to put it out of its misery. Holding it like a small bird, at first, I check where it meets the wall. There's a gray film on the back of it sticking onto some accumulated grease. When I touch the hole, where the cord enters, parts of the wall crumble away. A voice whispers like a static shock, "Pull it." So tenderly I start to pull, stopping every few seconds as if to check for pain. The wire gives, the wall crumbles away. I can't stop now, the peeling feels so good. I'm finally picking that scab that's lived on this wall for 2 years, getting my revenge. The wall just falls away as I uncover more wire. These 1960s builds, all made of cardboard, asbestos, plaster, and plastic. You can just peel and peel and peel away until the whole building is gone.
The wires are threading through the walls of this house. Electricity cables, telephone lines, and Ethernet binding the house together. They form a hidden mesh, a web that cradles the home as if the bricks, concrete, and plaster cling to them, not the other way round.
I'm now scratching, digging, tearing at this wall. Plaster cakes underneath my fingernails. The dust is somewhere in my body now, corrupting cells. I never reach the wall, just endless dust to dig through. Each layer reveals another beige texture to explore with my fingers, and I dive them in without fear. Piles of wallpaper lay around me. I'm kneeling in a pile of white, elbow deep in wall, and I finally feel something resist. Tearing slows into a soft caress. I'm imagining my girlfriend's cheek in the cold and wiping it slowly. Where the cables used to be, there's now a gate. Forged wires making figures and florets. There's more cords joining mine, all leading into a tunnel just my size. I take this guide in my hand, now being pulled instead of pulling.
Soon the copper landline wires will be phased out, retired. In some homes they will remain, dormant yet embedded in the walls, and part of the mesh. In others, the wires will be unwound, pulled from the fabric of the home like a snag in a scarf.
My hands are combing across chalky walls. Cold and wet are the same feeling. Cold is the presence of moisture, damp. I found myself in a dugout tunnel after following the wire for a few hours. Around my feet are hundreds of cords, and they've woven themselves into a Celtic braid that makes a soft mat.
I am the final silence. The lost electrician alive. And they called me the sparkle. I was the best, I worked them all. New ways, new ways. I dream of wires.
That was Gary Newman, I Dream of Wires.
You are listening to Landline with Anna Howard and Steph Linn. To send pictures or texts to the fax machine, please WhatsApp 0044 787 367 9998. The prompt is dust, plaster, peeling, tearing.
There's a leak coming from upstairs. I watch it slowly build up. The white ceiling swells and bubbles at the corner. The chalky calcium residue looks like ornate moulding, but the yellow stain is not decoration. It's the silhouette of decay. The drip is evidence of an act. A repetitive behaviour performed by my neighbour is leaving a mark on my ceiling. Like a desire path, where the erosion is driven by an instinct to create a new pathway beside the orderly infrastructure. If I could slip through the layers of material that separate me and my neighbour, paint, plasterboard, dust, structural joists, floorboard, lino, I'd arrive at their kitchen. A small kitchen, last renovated in the 1980s. The walls are a thick peach colour. Beside the fridge is a framed picture of daffodils. The picture frame drips incessantly. You see, my neighbour likes things just so. Not long after they moved in, they decided to wrap their sofa in a protective layer of plastic. It wasn't about cleanliness. The sheen became an obsession, and gradually all their possessions got the same treatment, wrapped in layers and layers of cling film. The exception to this rule is the frames. The hunt for all that glistens has led my neighbours to freeze their picture frames. The ice is the glaze. Every night, the frames are put into the freezer like ice trays, and every morning they are ritually hung up. They shimmer in the light for a few hours, while the water drips and then cascades down the wall, onto the skirting, through the gap in the lino, and soaks into the wood, the joist, the dust and the plasterboard. Like most, my neighbour is full of contradictions, and unable to see their blind spots. So they overlook the stain forming on the wall and the damp contents left hanging. And while the drip sound torments me downstairs, the metronome is their mantra.
This morning, I felt the last ever spring. Buds fail to bloom, and the warmth on my back begins to burn. I was dreaming on the overground to Dalston Junction that I met Connie Converse in a tunnel beneath the Atlantic. She sits cross-legged on an internet cable, strumming her guitar. "Why did you disappear those 50 years ago?" I asked her. "It was either find a job or be free," she said. Drinking tea, we could hear the cables humming. A shark swam by and took a nibble of the thick wire, and as it tore, the letters, songs, sounds, and numbers streamed out thick and gray. The data dissipated in the water, diluted and washed away on the currents. "It's easier to disappear than you would ever think," she said with a smile.
In between two tall mountains, there's a place they call Lonesome. Don't see why they call it lonesome. I'm never lonesome when I go there. See that bird sitting on my windowsill, well, he's saying whippoorwill all the night through. See that brook running by my kitchen door, well, it couldn't talk no more if it was you. Up that tree there's sort of a squirrel thing, sounds just like we did when we were quarreling. In the yard I keep a pig or two, They drop in for dinner like you used to do. I don't stand in the need of company with everything I see talking like you. Up that tree, there's sort of a squirrel thing. Sounds just like we did when we were quarreling. You may think you left me all alone, but I can hear you talk without a telephone. I don't stand in the need of company with everything I see talking like you. See that bird sitting on my windowsill, well, he's saying whippoorwill all the night through, just whippoorwill all the night through. In between two tall mountains there's a place they call lonesome. Don't see why they call it lonesome. I'm never lonesome, now I live there.
When did you write that? How did you happen to get that idea?
You are listening to Landline with Anna Howard and Steph Linn. To send pictures or texts to the fax machine, please WhatsApp 0044 787 367 9998. The prompt is dripping, hills, stains, erosion.
If we're making these systems where information can travel faster, maybe there's also other things that can like travel through them or hook onto them or exist within them.
So that was it, because we were talking about hosting.
Yeah, like host as a parasite.
Yeah.
In all reality, like sound recording is really just like this thing that only exists now when you replay it.
Yeah.
When I listen to like Connie Converse song, I'm like playing it off of Spotify, which is like streaming it from some fucking
underwater.
Yeah, crazy underwater. Like there's all these like layers of wires and like kind of like these recordings of things, and like she lives on forever through that. There's like, oh, that tiny person's being like dragged out of sleep and like made to perform again.
Yeah, that's what in Babylon, is it Babylon? That kind of bad film that was made by Hollywood. What I did like about it was it's like the history of cinema in Hollywood and from silent movies. And basically there's this really amazing bit where there's all these actors that are amazing actors, well, they were considered amazing actors, and then they got sound, and then they were like, hey, what? And they're like, oh my god, they sound awful.
Yeah.
So like, this kind of collision happened where people were no longer good for cinema.
Yeah.
And also because they were happening like outside, because they didn't need to kind of contain sound, and then they had to happen in studios. So everything became really controlled because your actions had to like correlate to where the speaker was hanging as well. Like, so everything became really, really regimented. And anyway, so it's just like, but there's a bit in that where I think Brad Pitt's like freaking out, and someone says like, the point of what you are and you're so lucky is that you're immortalized in film. Like, you will die, but you will live forever. You will live forever.
Yeah, through recordings.
And I was like, I just thought that's fascinating. As an actor, you must think about that.
Yeah.
If you're is that you do live on.
I mean, I guess as like an artist, you think about. I think about that sometimes, but then I'm also like, I feel like it's a bit false too, because everyone's always like, oh, the internet's forever and like all this stuff, but then you look at all these obsolete technologies. Where are all those people's faxes that they sent each other?
Yeah.
You know, where's all the MySpace images? Like, they're just gone. Like, things actually do just disappear if you don't. Yeah, if you don't take care of them.
Yeah.
I feel like with all these recordings of these musicians, they could have easily never. There's this other musician as well that I have in this playlist basically that I made kind of thinking about the show. She never released anything, but she had all these home recordings, and then her son found them and showed them to the guy from Dinosaur Jr. And then he put them out. Everything's so precarious. You know? All the systems are just like little wires and precarities.
Yeah. I think there's also something about, again, that's that entropy thing of like, I think there's something interesting about us always trying to make an order.
Yeah.
And I think it's not, I don't think that can ever be real. And so I think it's interesting that we create systems that also naturally fall apart into these disparate parts, because it's just not the way that things are supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's such a beautiful picture.
Every time I shed tears in the last past years, when I pass through the hills, oh, what images return, oh, I yearn for the roots of the woods, that origin of all my strong and strange moods. I lost something in the hills. I lost something in the hills. I grew up in declivities, others grow up in cities, where first love and soul takes rise. There were times in my life when I felt mad and deprived, and only the slopes gave me hope. When I pass through the leg-high grass, I shall die. Under the jessamine I shall die, in the elder tree. I need not try to prepare for a new coming day. Where is it that fills the deepness I feel? You will say I'm not Robin the Hood, but how could I hide from top to food that I lost something in the hills? I lost something in the hills. Oh, I lost something in the hills. Now I lean on my windowsill and I cry, though it's silly, and I'm dreaming of off and away. Oh, I know for the west these hills exist, marked by apple trees, marked by a straight brook that leads me wherever I wanted to. Well, I lost something in the hills. I lost something in the hills. Oh, I lost something in the hills.
That was I Lost Something in the Hills by the artist Sybil Bear.
Thank you for tuning in to Landline. You've come with us on a journey from a bathtub to a cave in the Appalachian Mountains. The live stream of the fax machine will continue to run while it prints out all the submissions. Check back for the results.
We're going to be played out by a track by Leland Sprinkle, who's a computer scientist from the 50s who turned a cave into an organ.